Hey everybody, Laura Park here, along with Ray Holmeyer and Karen Gustafson, and we thought we'd take a couple minutes to tell you about the upcoming Gender and Faith Retreat, which is happening at Unity Church on March 18th, a Saturday. I am particularly excited because I'm coming back again this year to the retreat, and it was such a moving experience exploring my gender journey last year and exploring it with people of all genders in a space where we got to be our whole and authentic selves in that exploration. And I'm particularly excited about the opportunity to deepen the connection between gender and faith this year, to understand more about what that intersection looks like and how I understand it in my own faith practice. And I'm going to lob it over to you, Ray, to tell us a little bit more about what's going to be on the agenda this year.
Thanks, Laura. Well, first I want to say I'm really excited that we're welcoming back queer and trans local facilitator Max. And together, the four of us have been co-creating the agenda. And in that process, I was reminded about last summer, I was invited to preach a sermon at Unity and was encouraged to talk about this work of gender and faith and that intersection of gender and faith and what it asks of us, what it can invite us to do. And that was an opportunity that I really years ago would not have imagined being able to invite from the pulpit at Unity. And it brings me back again and again to this question that for me is a spiritual practice. It's a movement of faith from estrangement towards connection, that even growing up in this community that has felt like a home and a family to me all my life, there have been multiple points as I've gone through my own journey, especially gender journey, that I've felt estranged or disconnected, and been able to move or ask and be invited to come back into connection again and again. And so that's one of the core parts that we want to explore in this year's gender exploration at the Gender and Faith Journey is when we, which I believe all of us, regardless what our gendered experience is, we share this experience of feeling estranged from our communities, from each other, from ourselves. How do we move back towards a place that opens us up for connection, that movement of faith or spiritual practice? And within that, we get to play and be creative and express our gender, maybe in ways that we haven't thought about before, or maybe in ways that we really desire, but haven't always had the freedom or the feeling of safety enough. And to take those kind of brave steps with one another, to take some risks, to be in deep conversation, to get to be in this place where we begin to imagine and even co-create new possibilities of being in relationship and community to one another. Karen, I would also love to hear what you've been thinking about in this conversation of gender and faith and what you're excited about exploring this year.
Thank you, Ray. Well, the last several months where we have been in conversation with Laura and Ray, what I've been aware of is it feels like this is an extension of a conversation that began for me in the 70s and 80s when, as part of the feminist revolution of that particular time, we were talking a lot about our relationship to our faith communities and to the religion of our childhood, and of course we were talking about the gender of God, and that had been such a barrier for so many women who had felt estranged from their faith tradition because it had become so exclusively focused on male and had engendered a patriarchy that was damaging to many of us on our faith journeys. And so this suddenly occurred to me that this is an expansion of that conversation that is creating opportunities to move beyond, the looking at the goddess and the God in nature, to really looking at the ways in which gender has always been a component of our relationship to the holy, and both from who we are within ourselves and also in terms of what it is that we are connecting to beyond ourselves, to that whole that's greater than the sum of the parts, that includes people of all genders and orientations. And so I am excited about engaging in this conversation with you and with others in this community to really liberate ourselves from some of the old some of the old stories and mythology that has restricted our connection to the holy. So this is a really exciting opportunity.
I'm really glad that you shared that, Karen. I appreciate hearing that context from somebody who lived through so many of those movements that I've only been able to read about. And it really gets at why we are having another gender and faith retreat at Unity. Because during this interim time, we have been exploring these questions of why do we gather in gendered space at Unity? And when is this generative and when is this limiting to anybody of any gender identity? And how, going forward, do we provide gendered spaces and conversation across gendered experience skillfully? That's really what we want to deepen into for this second Gender and Faith Retreat, and invite new folks to participate in beginning and furthering that conversation so we can imagine different ways of gathering together in community.
It's probably worth saying too that this is not an experience that requires extensive knowledge and vocabulary to participate in it. We will provide resources for people to read in advance if they want to have more of the scholarly understanding of how experts have been thinking about gender and the vocabulary that they've been using to talk about gender. But this is really an experience which you only need to bring your own expertise about your life. And we hope that lots of you will choose to participate in that experience. So if you're interested in this, there is on the Grow tab on the Unity Church website, you go down to Gender and Faith Retreat. There's a participant interest form to fill out. That's how you tell us that you're coming. Gives you a chance to reflect on your own experiences of that intersection of gender and faith and how you want to be coming into this retreat. And then we'll keep you updated on all the happenings and get you connected to the space. Anything else we need to tell people?
We look forward to spending time together on the 18th. Thanks all.